Festivals went on like this every day. On the 22nd, there was a feast given to the populace by the Senate in the Luxembourg Gardens with military music, dancing, illuminations, and fireworks. On the 24th, a dinner given by the mayors of Paris to the mayors of the 36 good towns in the hall of the Olympic Society. On the 25th, a feast given to the emperor at the Hôtel de Ville by the city of Paris. A huge feast at which we must pause because its object was to revive the customs of the old monarchy while overlaying them with a modern magnificence, and to perpetuate the memories of the past while making them vague and shadowy. Since the beginning of Vendemiaire, the prefect Frochot had been preparing for this feast. He had then announced to the General Municipal Council of the city of Paris the inclination of His Imperial Majesty to accept at this time of his coronation the invitation which had been made to him in the name of the city to visit the communal house. He strove to surpass all the feasts which had been given to the Bourbon kings, to outdo in magnificence, taste, and elegance, above all in variety, everything which the Grand Chamberlain of the Emperor could imagine or the Grand Master of the ceremonies ordained. There were amusements suited to the populace, a lottery of 13,000 poultry, fountains of wine, bands, songs by the official singers, illuminations, and so forth. But these were nothing in comparison with the pleasures reserved for the guests at the Hôtel de Ville. As a matter of fact, whose guests were they? Formerly were invited by the provost of the merchants and the corporation. Now it would be by the prefect and the general council, but the mayors and their deputies, asserting that they formed the municipality, protested that the feast should be given in their name. The emperor employed a compromise to satisfy everyone that the marshal governor of Paris should do the honors. This was extraordinary and against every precedent. But the governor was Murat. However, the idea was due to Frochot, the prefect, and it was not a bad one. All the guests who did not belong to the court met between 11 and 12 at the Hôtel de Ville in the throne room. At 1:15, they passed into the three galleries where 5 tables were set out with a complete repast. 600 ladies sat down. The men ate standing at sideboards prepared in the other apartments. About 2:30, near dessert time, the Marshal Governor of Paris arrived and was received at the foot of the grand staircase by the municipality. At 3 o'clock, a salvo of artillery announced that their majesties were leaving the Tuileries. It was the same train as on the consecration day, the same route as far as the Pont Neuf. There, Murat awaited him at the head of all the authorities, not only the 2 prefects with the secretaries general, the councillors of the prefecture, the mayors, and the deputies, and the members of the municipal council, but everyone who held any post in the administration, the finances, the hospitals, the loan office, the taxes, the chamber of commerce, the town customs, and public education, everyone who was employed and who drew an official salary or even gave his services gratuitously. The emperor inclined his head, and the representatives of the city proceeded to the communal house, round which the imperial guard had taken up their posts. At the steps there was a reception, then a speech by the prefect in the throne room, and a reply by the emperor. I desire you to know that in the midst of battles and the greatest dangers upon the ocean and even amid the desert, I have always had in view the approbation of this great capital of Europe, which I value second only to the approval of posterity that is all powerful in my breast. Murat presented to the emperor some specimens in gold of the medals which the city had struck in commemoration of this solemn day. Frochot had not failed to employ his fellow countryman and client Proudhon in this work. Proudhon had often been better inspired. Their majesties were then led into the apartments where the presentations took place. There were more speeches, thanks, and appointments. The oldest of the Parisian mayors to be a senator, 3 officials of the city to be members of the Legion. The prefect presented to the emperor and empress the ships which were formed part of the grand service in silver gilt, which the city had obtained permission to offer to them, as to the toilette set in gold and the silver gilt, the gift of the city. To the empress, it was laid out in a neighboring closet. The prefect announced that their majesties were served, and they passed into a hall which have been named the Hall of Victories, the walls of which were covered between the trophies and allegorical figures with Latin inscriptions composed by Petit Radel, an employee of the city. These were the Napoleonic annals. All the battles in which Bonaparte had been present were mentioned. As to the 18th of Brumaire, it figured under this euphemism. He changes the destiny of the Gauls. There were 3 tables, one for their majesties, another for the princes and princesses, a third for the grand officers of the empire, the officers of the emperor and empress, and the princes ate in 2 other apartments. Although the imperial table was placed on a dais under canopy, surrounded by the grand officers of the crown and served by pages, it only half represented the great service of the king, even with the ships placed at both ends. The etiquette of it was at once more strict, since Napoleon Josephus sat alone, less patriarchal because the municipality did not serve, more sociable because eating went on at the same time as the other tables. However, what did recall the grand service was the march past of the guests. During the repast, there were songs and music, words by Monsieur de Propiac for other records of the Department of the Seine. Afterwards, they re-entered the reception hall, where coffee was served. The emperor advanced to a kind of balcony, which had been erected above. Some verses were sung also by Propiac. Then he set fire to the dragon, which, crossing the plastic grove on a wire rope, lighted the fireworks on the other side of the river. A representation of the crossing of the Mount St. Bernard had been chosen, and in the set piece there appeared at the top an equestrian figure, the consul, whilst a ship representing the city of Paris was set alight on the river, and a balloon set up from the square in Notre Dame bearing a fiery imperial crown, a balloon which Garnerin had provided for 9,000 francs, and which fell 46 hours later into Lake Bracciano near Rome. The emperor wrote to the Pope from Milan on the 4th of February.